Hello everyone, this is Jason. Welcome to what I guess is the first kind of devlog or dev diary for this project, which I've currently have the working title of Cryptic on it, but it's not a finalized title, but you have to name it something when you create a project in Unity, so here we are. I just wanted to kind of put something together for the folks who are maybe a little more interested in like the back end of game development, or just more interested in the project, and wanted to see a little more than those 15-second clips that I put on Twitter. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff I've been working on this week. So if you've been checking out the game on Twitter, you've probably already seen the majority of the weapons that I've got added. I had the TNT that I added recently, which is a whole lot of fun to play with. We've got the old hatchet and the C96. And then, of course, the lever action, which you don't see a whole lot of anymore because it's not balanced very well at the moment, but I kind of want to make it my like magnum type weapon, so it does a little more damage than the pistol, can one-shot most trash enemies. And then, of course, there's the double barrel, which I have a lot of fun with. And then I've got a new one to show you guys that I just finished last night, actually. So we'll go over here and we will throw some enemies in the scene real quick. Alright, now we're getting shot at. So now we've got the Sten submachine gun, which we just added in here. This guy's standing on a fence for some reason. I don't know how he got over there. So there you go. This is a pretty fun one to model. I was, of course, originally tempted to go with like a Thompson, since, you know, this game is inspired very heavily by Blood and has drawn a lot of comparisons. But I just wanted to do something a little more unique, and I really like the profile that the Sten has on screen with the with like the sideways ejecting magazine and all that fun stuff. I had modeled one for my old project Unholy Commotion and really enjoyed using it in game, so that was a fun little modeling project. You can also see, I'm sure, that I worked a little bit on asset modeling. Got some pretty boulders. Let's light things up. Got some boulders over here, and you know, these big old trees. I was gonna do, you know, just billboarding trees like I have up on the ridge, but those look really bad in person, especially when you can see a really large sprite rotating, like to face the player at all times. So I opted not to do that. So it, you know, it kind of toes outside of the retro shooter aesthetic a little bit, but I think as long as I keep like the poly count low on stuff like this, it should look alright. So outside of gameplay, you might not be aware that all of the models that all of the sprites that I make for the weapons are actually 3D models. So, you know, like here's the Sten I just finished. So I got this full arm rig here. And then, you know, got the Sten is fully modeled, except for a little bit of missing detail on the internals, but you don't see that side of the gun in game, so I didn't really mess with that too heavily. So then, like, we've also got like the C96 is fully modeled and textured. You know, the double barrel shotgun is fully modeled and textured, and, you know, it's probably a little bit of overkill to have them be so detailed when, you know, they just get crunched down to sprites, but it really gives me a lot of flexibility when building the sprites. And the rigging, I mean, the like rendering system is pretty simple. You know, I've just got a camera mounted to the head that basically renders it out at the, you know, at the perspective that I want, and then I've got the render settings set up to kind of push it out so it's about the size of a sprite. And then, you know, I go into Photoshop and clean it up a little bit, redo some of the leveling so that it'll look good once it's converted to my color palette. Then I convert it to my color palette, and then import everything into Sprite and clean it all up in there. You know, because just the straight conversion to the palette does wind up with a lot of abnormalities in the sprite and a lot of things that just don't look good. So there's a lot of manual cleanup that happens after the fact. So one thing I kind of mentioned in an earlier post this week was that I've been retooling the pathfinding for enemies. You know, when I was just getting the project set up, they all just kind of walked in a straight line towards you, but I wanted them to have a little bit more, a little bit better AI than that, so I am utilizing a pathfinding solution, and it's just the A-Star pathfinding project. Pathfinding is something I struggle with a little bit as a programmer, so I didn't want to waste a whole lot of time with my own implementation when there was already such a robust solution out there. The thing I really enjoy about the A-star pathfinding solution is that unlike the Unity nav mesh agents, it kind of spits out an array of pathing points that the enemies follow. So you can see now that he's spotted me. There's this array of points that it's spitting out, and he's not going to follow them right now too heavily because he can see me directly, so he's going to try to resolve a straight path to me. But let's go and let's hide behind this tree here. We're just going to run past him. We'll go hide behind this tree. And now he's having to follow his nav mesh path. That's basically just feeding in an array of points to his player object, and he's going to follow it until he has a direct bead on me, which he thinks he has right now, so he's trying to walk past this tree. The funny thing is the enemies, I need to go back and fix the code because their slope restrictions aren't working quite right, and so I've had these guys just walk straight up these trees before. I have like a really basic rise over run limiter in there right now where they can only walk up a slope of a limited amount of rise over run, and I think the calculation is extremely forgiving because these guys can walk straight up this cliff, they can walk straight up these trees, so I definitely need to revisit that. But it is pretty funny when enemies rain down on you from the top of these evergreen trees, and I remind myself how terrible the code is right now. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this devlog. I don't think I have too much else to cover at the moment. Hopefully this is something that some people enjoy, and I can continue doing these in the future for those who enjoy looking at the game a little bit past the just the 15-second sound bites I post on Twitter. So until next time.